Alrighty, so finally, the fight we've all been waiting for, Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. It came, it happened, and it's done. And before we actually get into anything else, I feel it is extremely important for everyone to look at this thing for what it actually was. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather came in, they talked a lot of shit to each other for months. They got in the ring, they fought, and when the fight was over, there was a newfound respect for both men. They congratulated each other, gave each other a hug and a handshake, took a picture together, and moved on. They're both gonna make the sort of money we're probably never gonna see in our lifetime. And at the end of the day, that's what this was all about. Financial security for both men and maybe a little bit of bragging rights. But it's done. And I think MMA fans and boxing fans should really have a little bit more respect for each other following this event. Because what I'm seeing right now online, it's pretty shocking to me. Yes, absolutely, excuses could be made on both sides. Valid excuses could be made on both sides. But what's the point? It's done. It's all done. We have a winner. But that aside, before the fight actually started and both guys were facing off, the first thing that I noticed was just how much bigger Conor McGregor was in there. Now, looking at these two guys standing there, all I could think to myself is, someone is lying their ass off. Floyd Mayweather is either shorter than 5'8" or Conor McGregor is taller than 5'9". But someone is lying. Forget overall size. The height difference alone was shocking to me. Now, Conor McGregor has always had a way of making himself look bigger in there, kind of like Jon Jones does. And, he does that by doing what you see smaller animals do, even some bigger animals. But he does that by doing what you see animals do when they want to look really threatening, when they want to look bigger than they actually are. Conor McGregor opens himself up. He extends every arm. He keeps his feet wide. He opens up his shoulders. He keeps his head nice and tall. Now, all of this it's not textbook proper defense. It's not. But what it does is it maximizes your reach, your height, and your size. And this is the one thing that I believe Floyd Mayweather saw for the very first time in his whole entire career. There was just a massive wall of limbs, size, just floating all around him where he could see the openings, but the path to the openings was a very long one. Now, Floyd has been in there with big guys before. He's been in there with guys who were taller than Conor McGregor, but none of them opened themselves up like Conor did. It's something that's very unique to Conor McGregor, even in the world of MMA. And that's because he abandons the textbook defensive body posture that you're taught in striking, and he follows a more karate style path to it, with the way he opens himself up, legs wide, arms outstretched. It's a brilliant, beautiful thing to look at when you see Conor doing that. Now, when the fight first started, they both did exactly what was expected. Conor McGregor rushed at him and Floyd moved backwards and immediately relaxed. I immediately saw Floyd take a deep breath and just relax. It's what he does best, and he took up a posture of a man looking to just weather a storm. He knew the storm was gonna come. It's all about just relaxing and letting the storm come and weather it. Now, anyone who's ever watched Floyd fight knows that this is what Floyd does. He plays the long game, the thinking man's game. He's not a Mike Tyson style of opponent that's gonna come at you guns blazing. He's a long game kind of opponent. And when you play the long game, when you play the thinking man's game, you almost always give up the first few rounds. If not anything, due to the fact that you're inactive. And the reason why you give up those rounds is because those first few rounds are, it's a round that you take to analyze the opponent, to figure out what the opponent is trying to do. So Floyd was basically doing what was expected. He was taking his time, analyzing this brand new style of opponent in front of him and trying to figure out a way to get through a man that freaking big in the cage. Conor looked so much bigger than Floyd. It was pretty shocking. Now, the thing that has always fascinated me about Floyd is that even though he's a small guy, even though he has faced guys that are bigger than him in the cage, he has never really fought small. Usually the shorter opponent wants to get on the inside and do work on the inside, but even when Floyd was facing he was facing bigger men in there like Canelo Alvarez, when he was facing Oscar De La Hoya, even when he was a smaller man in there in the past, he was still the guy that was fighting from the outside, forcing the opponents to come to him and close that distance. And he was able to do that because of his speed, his incredible footwork, and his timing. He was able to jump into that striking range, do work real quick, get out before the opponent could counter. But in this fight against Conor McGregor, for the first time in his career, which is insane to me, he was facing a man who was just too big, too long, and a man who maximized those advantages. For that style that Floyd usually fights, it would not have worked against Conor McGregor. At least not if you wanted to finish the fight. Floyd definitely could have done it if his whole entire focus was boxing. If he wanted to just box and outpoint Conor, he most definitely could have, but not if you're trying to finish the fight. Now, for a southpaw that's facing Floyd Mayweather, the uppercut counter to the straight is a money shot. Robert Guerrero, specifically, I remember that one. He tried that counter numerous times, but it just didn't work. Not because he wasn't fast enough, not because he didn't have the right timing down, but because Floyd was faster and Floyd was able to get to him and pull away quicker than he could land the counter. Against Conor, once again, it was a different story. At one point, Floyd threw a leaping straight shot, but because of how big and how long Conor McGregor was and the distance that Conor likes to fight from, Conor was able to pull and counter with an uppercut before Floyd could reach him. It was incredible to witness. It really was. I believe that was the shot that immediately told Floyd that he would not be able to play that outside game with Conor. Again, not because he cannot, but if he wanted to get the finish, if he wants to stop Conor McGregor and not just outbox him, he needs to be able to land consecutive shots on Conor McGregor, specifically to the body, and he would not be able to do that from the distance he usually fights from. So what did Floyd do? He had to switch things up right away. Now, one more reason why he had to switch things up was because Conor McGregor was not being predictable at all with his shots. He was throwing a lot of variety out there, but he also was not throwing his punches from the chamber, and that's the biggest thing to take away from this fight. He was not throwing shots from the chamber, and because of that, Floyd was not able to counter off of the shots that Conor McGregor was throwing. This fight wasn't a I'm gonna counter you fight. It was a I need to create openings for myself to counter you. I'm going to explain. Conor McGregor was doing an amazing job of being fast and accurate. Now, before the fight, I was talking to you guys about how this is way more important than power in boxing, and it truly is, and this fight proved it. Conor McGregor came into this fight with the intention to land accurately. He did not come in here with power, he came in with precision. In fact, his focus was so far from power, he was actually throwing his shots the weakest way possible. But before you go crazy, that way almost guaranteed they would land. Okay? Now, for a jab to have any sort of respectable pop to it, you have to throw it from the chamber, extend the fist, turn the punch over, and connect with the two front knuckles. Now, that'd be a really dope jab if you can land it. But the problem is, this is the sort of jab Floyd Mayweather has seen his whole entire career. Floyd would see that jab coming from a mile away, he'd pull that, return fire, and immediately land with a counter shot. What Conor was doing was pretty simple, but also very brilliant. He was throwing his shots extremely short, but maintaining a range as long as he possibly could. He did that by throwing shots from extended arms. Again, he was throwing his shots from his arms extended. Now, if I keep my lead arm extended and I throw a jab from there while keeping it extended, the punch will be shorter, which A, makes it faster, and B, much harder to pull. Now, what makes it accurate? The fact that with the arms extended, I'm fishing for the target. I'm going this way, left, right, fishing for the target, redirecting your head to where I want to throw the shot at. And so as I'm waving that arm around in your face, I'm waving it. I'm trying to hone in on the target. And the second I hone in on that target, then I fire off the shot from that same range with my arm still extended out. And that's how Conor was able to land so many clean jabs. I mean, it was a beauty to behold. Conor was doing that very, very well. And once Floyd recognized that, okay, that's what he's doing. He's not throwing these jabs from the chamber. He's throwing it. It's almost like he's throwing faint jabs, but then committing to the jab when it's already more than halfway there. The second Floyd recognized that, immediately, due to his boxing experience, he realized he could not linger on the outside. He would not be able to hurt Conor while lingering from the outside, and he also realized that jab does not have the sort of pop that you really need to respect it too much. So he immediately switched off, went from lingering on the outside to pushing himself into Conor McGregor so that he does not get picked off easily. So again, Floyd switched things up and went all the way in. Now in boxing, the rules are you're either all the way out or you're all the way in. And the reason for that is because these are the two ranges that you're the safest at. When you're all the way out, you're really safe. And when you're all the way in, you're able to crowd your opponent's punches. Believe it or not, you're able to crowd their punches. And if you can crowd the opponent's punches, you can take a lot of steam off the punches, especially when you're dealing with someone that's not an experienced boxer, someone who does not have the sort of experience to fight on the inside, to leverage that small range to actually land power shots. It's a very safe distance to be in. And Floyd realized that, immediately closed the distance and started pushing Conor McGregor backwards. And again, this right here is where Conor's lack of boxing experience really started to show. On the inside, boxers who are not experienced, they work too hard. On the inside, the goal is not to throw. The goal is to land clean, and that was the difference. Once Floyd started closing that distance, making the ring smaller and smaller and smaller, Conor McGregor started throwing more shots than he should have. Nate Diaz also used a similar tactic against Conor McGregor, if you remember, in their fights. Now Conor, he simply works too hard on the inside. He starts hitting your arms, shoulders over and over and over again, but nothing is really landing clean. And worse, these are not respectable shots at all. It's all arm punches. There's no power there. So while Conor is throwing, Floyd is wrist fighting. He sees an opening and he throws one hook to the body and then stops. He rests. He takes his time. He looks for that opening. He goes back to waiting. He lands one shot. He goes back to waiting. While you're working really hard to get him off you, he's just relaxing, staying composed, and landing shots every single time he sees a clean opening. And the beauty of it is that one clean body hook that he's able to land, it does way more than the 4 or 5 blocked shots that Conor was throwing on the inside. Also, going forward at Conor like that, what he did, it eliminates the need to be so timing based. Now it becomes a battle of patience, calmness, and composure. And because when shots are coming at you from that close range, if you're not used to seeing punches coming at you from that close range, I mean, you're going to spaz out, you're not going to be calm, you're going to freak out, and you're not going to have the calmness to see those small pockets of weakness between the shots to accurately place yours in there to take advantage of that range. And that's what Floyd did. Eventually, Conor McGregor, who was the bigger man in there, he gassed out really badly. And from there, it basically turned into a beating. Now, a lot of people are upset at the stoppage. I get it. I completely get it. But personally, I'm really not upset with it. Would I have loved to see it go a bit longer so that we can see the sort of heart Conor McGregor actually has, or if he has any? Absolutely, yes. But that would have just been delaying the inevitable. It really would. The beating would have progressively got worse, and Conor McGregor, being as tough as he is, might not have gone down. It's possible he might not have gone down, but it's very, very, very easy for shit to get out of hand when a fighter is taking a beating in boxing. This is why we've seen fighters die in boxing, but we've not seen people die too much in MMA. It's different from MMA where you get put out of your misery. You get hit clean, you get dropped, the fighter gets on top, hits you, finishes you, you're good to go. In boxing, you're not really done. You're not really out. You're coherent. You seem really fine. You feel like you're good to go, but you're taking repeated blows to the head and body over and over and over and over and over a long period of time. That really has the potential to do the sort of damage that I personally did not want to see in there, especially for someone like Conor McGregor, who's not experienced at taking that kind of beating when it comes to punches. I know a lot of people are going to compare it to the Nate Diaz fight. Man, he was getting beat in the Nate Diaz fight and he was good. This is different. This is different. I'm telling you right now, these were different shots. These were different shots that Floyd was landing on Conor. Conor might seem okay to you. He might seem like he's good to go. But you do not know. In boxing, it does not take a lot for shit to get out of hand. So Conor was done. He simply was, and I am okay with that stoppage. Again, would I have loved to see it go a little longer? Yes. But I'm not gonna bitch about the stoppage. It is what it is. It was what it was. But I mean, that aside, how could you not respect Conor McGregor? How could you not have respect for Conor? He came in there 0-0 in professional boxing, and he did a great job. Yes, he was the much bigger man in there. Yes, he was the much younger man in there. Yes, he had the size, the reach, the youth against a smaller 40-year-old man. Absolutely. But none of that really matters when you put it against skill and experience, which is what I've been trying to bring out this whole time that this fight was in process. I've been trying to explain that to everyone. All this stuff that you're talking about. Floyd is too small. His head is too small. He's got weak arms. He's got weak hands. He hasn't fought in 2 years. He's 40 years old. He's too old. All of that stuff, the size, the reach, all of that, the youth, you cannot put that against skill and experience. It just does not work. Skill and experience is always going to trump everything else that is not skill and experience. The skill difference here was staggering. And Conor went 10 rounds. He was even able to land shots and even won rounds. That is impressive. That is really, really impressive and commendable no matter how you look at it. Whether you like Conor McGregor or you don't like Conor McGregor. Which, honestly, I don't see how you cannot like Conor McGregor. He did a great job. He did a really, really great job. And as an MMA fan, I am pretty damn proud of Conor. I'm pretty proud that he was able to go in there and do as good as he did against Floyd Mayweather. That was absolutely impressive to me, especially because we all know what would happen. I mean, come on. Well, we all know what would happen if this fight were to take place in the octagon. Come on now. I mean, come on. I'm a boxing fan. I love me some boxing, but man, some of y'all boxing fans are delusional. If you're saying shit like, man, if Floyd were to go into the octagon, it would be competitive. Get the fuck out of here. No, it won't. I don't even want to imagine what would happen if Floyd stepped in there against Conor McGregor in the octagon. It would be a massacre. I don't even want to imagine that. That's just, come on. Stop talking crazy. Stop talking crazy. This fight was as good as it was for a few reasons. No, you guys are completely right. Absolutely. Floyd is older. He's absolutely older. He's not as fast as he once was. His reflexes is not what it used to be. And he was a smaller man in there. But Conor still did a great job. Conor McGregor still did a great job, and I definitely enjoyed watching this fight. It ended like I felt it would. I did not think Conor would have the skills to beat Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match. There was no way that was going to happen. I actually expected it to end a lot sooner than it did. So I'm pleasantly surprised that Conor was able to put up the sort of fight that he did and actually do well against Floyd Mayweather. But anyways, the fight was great. It went like I personally expected. It delivered. Both guys fought well. No one was hurt, thank goodness. And now, guess what? They'll both be going home with truckloads of cash. So win for everyone involved. How incredible is that? Anyways, that's it. What did you guys think about the fight? Did you enjoy it? Did it go down like you expected? Let me know in the comments section. And I will definitely be reading your comments and we'll be talking about it. Thanks so much for watching. It means a lot. I will see you guys very shortly. Be safe.